Your parents raised a family on one salary. You and your partner bring home two, and you're somehow poorer than they ever were. Two paychecks, two careers, two people grinding every single day, and the bank account still looks anemic by the 28th. This isn't about avocado toast. This isn't about lattes. Something structural broke, and almost nobody is willing to explain what it is. Today, I'm going to show you exactly how the modern economy quietly turned your second income into a mirage, a number on paper that vanishes before it ever hits your savings. We'll go decade by decade, dollar by dollar, and by the end, you'll understand exactly where the money went. More importantly, I'll give you the exact playbook to escape the trap before it locks you in for good. Hi, my name is Buck, and I've spent hundreds of hours digging into why dual-income households keep falling behind. If you and your partner both work and still feel like the math doesn't add up, subscribe because this channel is built for you. All right, let's start with a thought experiment. Picture a couple. Let's call them Jake and Mia. Jake works in logistics, pulls in 73 grand. Mia is an office manager making 58,000 combined, $131,000 a year. On paper, they're crushing it. Top quarter of American earners. Should be building serious wealth. In reality, they've got 1 month of savings. Their credit card balance keeps climbing. And last Tuesday, Mia cried in the car because the water heater broke, and they couldn't cover it without borrowing. How is that possible? How does a household earning six figures end up fragile? The answer has nothing to do with discipline and everything to do with a hidden economic machine that's been running in the background for 50 years. Let me rewind the clock. 1971, America. A factory worker named Tom comes home every evening at 5:15. His wife Linda runs the house. They've got 3 kids. Tom earns the equivalent of about $62,000 in today's money. One income, that's it. And here's what blows my mind. They're comfortable. Their mortgage eats about a quarter of Tom's paycheck. Health insurance is covered through the plant. The kids go to the local public school, which is perfectly fine. They drive one car. They eat home-cooked meals. They save a little every month. And once a year, they pile into the station wagon and drive to the coast for a week. Now here's the part nobody talks about. Tom's family had a secret weapon, and they didn't even know it. If Tom got laid off tomorrow, if the plant shut down, if he got hurt, Linda could get a job. Maybe not a glamorous job, but a job. Secretary, retail clerk, substitute teacher. That second income was sitting there like an unopened parachute. That emergency backup gave them something priceless. Resilience. They could take a hit and recover. One income covered the bills. The other income was a safety valve waiting to be opened. Remember that. It's the single most important concept in this entire video. Now, fast forward. The 70s become the 80s. Women flood into the workforce, not because of some conspiracy, but because of a genuine, positive expansion of opportunity. And women wanted careers, independence, financial power, and they got it. This was progress, but something else happened at the same time, something the economists saw coming but nobody wanted to talk about. When millions of households suddenly had 2 incomes instead of 1, the entire pricing structure of American life began to shift. Think about it like an auction. Imagine 100 families bidding on 100 houses. In 1970, each family had 1 income, say $50,000. So houses got priced for what a single earner could afford. The market settled around what one paycheck could handle. Now, give half those families a second income. Suddenly, 50 families can bid $90,000 instead of $50,000. What happens to prices? They skyrocket. Not because the houses got better in the same 3-bedroom ranch, but because buyers got richer, and the families with only 1 income, they got priced out entirely. This is the core engine of the trap. 2 incomes didn't buy a better life. They bought the same life at a higher price. The extra money went straight to landlords, mortgage lenders, and real estate markets. It evaporated on contact. Let me hit you with the numbers because this is where it gets visceral. In 1970, the median American home cost roughly $23,000. That's about $185,000 adjusted for inflation. A single earner could handle that mortgage spending 25 to 30% of their income. Tight? Sure, but doable. Today, the median home price is over $410,000. That's more than double, even after you adjust for inflation. Housing didn't just get more expensive, it devoured a bigger chunk of a bigger income. Two people are now paying proportionally more than one person used to pay alone, and housing is just the appetizer. Let's talk about the expense that didn't even exist for Tom and Linda's generation in any meaningful way. Childcare. When one parent stayed home, childcare cost zero. It was built into the family structure for free. Today, the average American family spends over $11,000 a year per child on care in cities like Boston, San Francisco, or DC. You're looking at $20,000 to $30,000 per child per year. Let that settle in. That's a second rent payment, just so both parents can go earn their paychecks. Healthcare is the next monster. In 1970, the average family spent about $1,500 per year on medical costs in today's dollars. Employer plans covered most things. Co-pays were small. Going to the doctor didn't require a financial risk assessment. Today, healthcare spending per household averages over $12,000 annually, and that's with insurance. Deductibles alone can run $3,000 to $7,000 per person. One ER visit, one unexpected surgery, one chronic diagnosis, and your entire financial plan can crater overnight. Then there's education. College tuition has increased over 1,200% since 1980. Let me say that again, 1,200%. The average student now graduates with over $30,000 in debt, and many carry far more. Parents trying to help their kids avoid that debt are sinking tens of thousands into 529 plans or paying tuition directly, further hollowing out the household budget. So let's add the big four together. Housing doubled in real cost, childcare, a brand new 5-figure expense, healthcare, up over 700%, education, up over 1,200%. These aren't luxury items. These are the tickets to being middle class. And their combined cost exploded right as the second income entered the picture. This is the bait and switch. Society said, send both partners to work and you'll be richer. What actually happened was both partners went to work, costs absorbed every new dollar, and now you need both incomes just to stand still. You didn't gain wealth. You lost your safety net. Now let's get surgical. Let me dissect what actually happens to that second income, Mia's $58,000, once real life gets its hands on it. Because the gross number is a fantasy, the net number is the truth, and the truth is ugly. Step 1. Taxes. Because of progressive brackets, Mia's income stacks on top of Jake's. The first $73,000 already filled up the lower brackets. Mia's dollars start getting taxed at the higher marginal rates. Federal, state, payroll. When you add it all up, roughly 32% of that $58K goes straight to the government. That's $18,500 gone. Mia's real take home, about $39,500. Step 2, childcare. Jake and Mia have 2 kids. Daycare runs $13,000 per child in their mid-sized city. That's $26,000. Mia's effective income just dropped to $13,500. 2 kids in daycare devoured 2/3 of what's left. Step 3, the commute. Mia drives 25 minutes each way. Gas, insurance on the second car, maintenance, parking. Annual cost around $7,500. That's not extravagant. That's just the price of getting to the building where she earns money. Her remaining balance, $6,000. Step 4, the exhaustion tax. This one's invisible but devastating. When both partners work full time, Nobody has the bandwidth to cook every night, clean the house, mow the lawn, handle repairs, so you outsource. Take out 3 times a week, a cleaning service twice a month, a landscaper, a grocery delivery subscription. Convenience spending adds about $6,000 a year for the average dual income family. Final score, $58,000 in gross income. Net contribution to the household after taxes, childcare, commuting, and exhaustion spending, 0, maybe negative. Mia works 2,000 hours a year to add exactly nothing to the family's bottom line. That's not a paycheck. That's an expensive hobby. Now, before you say, well, she's building her career, gaining experience, earning retirement benefits, and those things do matter, understand the psychological trap that this creates. Jake and Mia see $131,000 on their tax return. They feel like a $131,000 household. They make decisions like a $131,000 household. They buy a home the bank says they can afford based on 2 incomes. They lease a car that 2 incomes can technically handle. They enroll the kids in activities that 2 incomes can cover. Every financial commitment is calibrated to the gross number, the fantasy number, not the net reality. And this is where the trap becomes a prison. Once your fixed costs, mortgage, car payments, insurance, childcare contracts, are locked in at the 2 income level, you cannot downshift. Neither partner can quit. Neither partner can take a break. Neither partner can even get fired without catastrophe. Remember Tom and Linda's secret weapon? The emergency parachute, the backup income? Jake and Mia already pulled the ripcord. Both chutes are deployed. They're already falling at full speed with nothing left in reserve. A Harvard bankruptcy study found something jaw-dropping. Families with 2 working parents were significantly more likely to file for bankruptcy than families where only one parent worked. More income, more risk. That's counterintuitive until you understand the trap. It's not because 2 income families are irresponsible. It's operating with 0 margin. Every dollar is allocated. Every month is a tightrope walk. And when something goes wrong, and something always goes wrong, there's nowhere to turn. A layoff, a medical emergency, a divorce, an aging parent who needs full-time care, a child with special needs, a recession. These aren't rare events. They're statistical certainties over a 30-year working career. Something will happen. The only question is whether you have margin when it does. The Federal Reserve's own data tells a story. Nearly 40% of American adults, many in dual-income homes earning good money, can't cover a $400 surprise expense without borrowing or selling something. $400. That's a car repair, a broken appliance, an emergency vet visit. These families aren't broke because they don't earn enough. They're broke because every dollar was spoken for the moment it was earned. The expenses expanded like a gas. They filled whatever container you gave them. 2 incomes just gave them a bigger container to fill. Now I want to zoom out and talk about the hidden force that made all of this so much worse, the school district arms race. Because this is the sneakiest cost driver in America, and almost nobody sees it. In America, public schools are largely funded by local property taxes. That means good schools exist in neighborhoods with expensive homes, and expensive homes exist in neighborhoods with good schools. It's a circular trap. Every parent wants the best for their kids, so dual-income families started bidding up home prices in top school districts. 2 incomes meant they could outbid single-income families for the houses near the best schools. The prices kept climbing and climbing. The result, you're technically getting free public education, but you're paying the equivalent of private school tuition through your mortgage. That $200,000 premium for being in a top school district, spread over 18 years, that's $11,000 a year. That's tuition. You just don't see it because it's hidden inside your housing payment. And once that mortgage is locked in, you're done. You're committed. Two incomes are no longer optional, they're mandatory. The school district arms race didn't give families better education. It gave the housing market a bigger appetite. So let me summarize the trap in one sentence. Two incomes raised the price of everything, eliminated the family safety net, and left most households more fragile than their single income grandparents ever were. That's not a recession problem. That's not a bad decisions problem. That's a structural problem baked into the modern economy. Now, if this video ended here, it would just be depressing. You'd know the problem, but have no idea what to do about it. So, let's pivot, because the trap is real, but it's not inescapable. You just need to see it clearly to build around it. Strategy number 1, and this is the foundation everything else rests on. I call it the one paycheck architecture. The idea is simple but radical. Build your entire mandatory cost structure so it can survive on a single income. I'm not saying one partner should quit. I'm saying you should pretend one partner might have to. Your mortgage, your car, your insurance, your groceries, your utilities, the non-negotiable bills should all be coverable by the higher income alone. If they're not, you're standing on a trap door. This means making different choices than your peers. It means buying the $280,000 house when the bank says you can afford $420,000. It means driving a paid-off car when your neighbors lease a new SUV every 3 years. It means choosing the neighborhood with B+ schools instead of the zip code with A+ schools and A+ mortgages. I know, it's hard. Your coworker just bought a gorgeous 4-bedroom in the fancy district. Your college friend just posted their new kitchen renovation. Social media is a highlight reel of people spending money they don't have to impress people they barely know. Comparison is the thief of financial freedom. Strategy number 2, make the second income invisible. Whatever the lower earner brings home after taxes, pretend it doesn't exist for lifestyle purposes. Set up a separate account, automate transfers. That money goes directly into 3 buckets and never touches your daily spending. Bucket 1, emergency fund. 6 months of expenses, minimum. This is the parachute you're rebuilding. This is the backup plan your grandparents had by default. You have to build yours on purpose. Until this bucket is full, nothing else matters. Bucket 2, retirement and investments. Max out your 401k match at minimum. That's free money you're literally leaving on the table if you don't. Then fund an IRA. Then open a taxable brokerage account. Every dollar invested here is buying compound interest, which is the only force in personal finance that actually works while you sleep. Bucket 3, debt destruction. If you're carrying high interest debt, credit cards, personal loans, car loans, this bucket attacks it with fury. Every dollar of the second income thrown at debt is saving you 15, 20, 25% in interest. That's the best guaranteed return you'll ever find. Strategy number 3, audit your exhaustion expenses. These are the costs you pay because you're too tired, too busy, or too overwhelmed to do things yourself. The $14 lunch at work because nobody packed food. The $40 Uber Eats on a Wednesday because cooking feels impossible. The $200 a month cleaning service. The impulse Amazon orders at 11 p.m. because shopping is your only dopamine hit after a draining day. I'm not here to shame you for any of that. Exhaustion spending is rational. You're buying back time and sanity, but you need to quantify it. Track every dollar for 30 days. Most families are stunned when they see the total. The typical dual income household leaks $400 to $800 a month on exhaustion expenses they don't even notice. The fix isn't willpower. The fix is systems. Meal prep on Sunday for 3 hours saves you $200 in takeout that week. A robot vacuum handles the floors. Batch your errands into one trip. Automate your bills so you stop paying late fees. Reduce. Decisions to reduce fatigue. Strategy number 4, Rethink the childcare equation. This is the single biggest lever for most families and the one they're least willing to pull. Childcare is often the expense that turns a second income into a mirage. So, get creative. Can one partner negotiate remote work 2 days a week, reducing daycare to 3 days? Can you coordinate with another family for a childcare swap? Is there a family member, a retired grandparent, an aunt, who'd help in exchange for something other than cash? Can one partner shift to a flexible or part-time role that covers its own costs and still preserves career momentum? I know these aren't options for everyone. Some families have no nearby relatives. Some jobs don't offer flexibility. But I've talked to dozens of dual-income families who assumed they had no choice and then found creative solutions that saved them $10,000 to $20,000 a year when they actually sat down and brainstormed. Strategy number 5, weaponize your commute costs. The second commute is a silent budget killer. If one partner can go remote, hybrid, or find work closer to home, the savings are enormous. Not just gas and maintenance, the time savings alone are worth thousands. The average American commute is 27 minutes each way. That's nearly an hour a day, 5 hours a week, 250 hours a year, spent in a car, contributing nothing, burning gas. If the second earner eliminated their commute, you'd save the direct costs and reclaim time that could be spent on meal prep, childcare, or simply being a functioning human being. Strategy number 6, and this one is uncomfortable but necessary. Have the money talk, not the what should we have for dinner talk, the real one. The one where you and your partner sit down, look at every dollar coming in and going out, and ask the hard question, are we building a life or are we just paying for a lifestyle? Most couples avoid this conversation like it's radioactive. Money is the number one source of conflict in relationships. But avoidance is more expensive than honesty. And if you can't talk about money with your partner, every strategy I've given you is useless. Alignment is the prerequisite. Here's a framework that actually works. Schedule a monthly money date. Make it low pressure, coffee, a glass of wine, whatever makes it feel less like a board meeting. Review 3 things: what came in, what went out, and what you're on track for. 20 minutes. That's all it takes to stay aligned. Strategy number 7, protect against the catastrophic what if. The trap's deadliest feature is that it assumes nothing goes wrong. But things go wrong all the time. Build your defenses before you need them. Disability insurance. If one partner can't work, long-term disability replaces a portion of income. Most employers offer it, but many workers never sign up. Life insurance, term, not whole, enough to cover the mortgage, and 5 years of expenses if the worst happens. These aren't fun purchases. They're the grown-up version of Tom and Linda's backup plan. Now let's talk about the long game, because the one paycheck architecture isn't just about survival. It's about escape velocity. When you stop spending the second income and start investing it, something remarkable happens over time. Let's model it. Say you manage to invest $2,000 a month from the second income. That's $24,000 a year. At a historically average stock market return of 8%, in 10 years, you've got roughly $375,000. In 15 years, over $700,000. In 20 years, you're approaching $1.2 million. $1.2 million invested throws off roughly $48,000 a year at a 4% safe withdrawal rate. That's an entire salary, generated by money, not labor. You've rebuilt the backup income your grandparents had, except this one doesn't require anyone to actually work. It runs on autopilot. That's the real payoff of escaping the trap. It's not about deprivation. It's about buying the thing that money was always supposed to buy: freedom. The freedom to have one partner, stay home if they want, the freedom to change careers, the freedom to handle a crisis without panic. Let me address the skeptics for a moment. This sounds great on paper, but we literally cannot live on one income in our city. I hear this a lot and I want to take it seriously because for some families, it's genuinely true. Cost of living in certain metros is so extreme that even one income survival feels impossible. But here's my pushback. Are you truly unable or are you unwilling to make the adjustments? Because there's a difference, right? Unable means one income can't cover food, shelter, and basic transportation anywhere within commuting distance. Unwilling means one income can't cover this neighborhood, this house, this lifestyle. If you genuinely can't restructure, and I acknowledge that's real in some situations, then the strategies still apply, just in modified form. You might not hit the full one paycheck architecture immediately, but you can move toward it. Drop from needing 95% of both incomes to 85%, then 75. Every percentage point of margin you reclaim is a percentage point of resilience. There's another angle nobody talks about: geographic arbitrage. If you're in a city where the cost of living eats both incomes alive, maybe the most radical financial move isn't a budget hack, it's a relocation. Remote work has blown the doors off this. You can earn a San Francisco salary and live in Boise. You can earn a New York salary and live in Raleigh. A family paying $3,500 a month for a two-bedroom apartment in Brooklyn could pay $1,400 for a three-bedroom house in Chattanooga. That's $25,000 a year in savings from a single decision. That's not penny pinching, that's structural change. Strategy number 8, create income that doesn't require trading hours. The ultimate escape from the two-income trap isn't a second job. It's income that grows without additional labor. This is where side businesses, digital products, rental income, and investments come in. I'm not talking about MLM schemes or get-rich-quick nonsense. I'm talking about building assets during your peak earning years that generate cash flow in your 40s, 50s, and beyond. A rental property that cash flows $500 a month. A YouTube channel that earns while you sleep. An index fund that drips dividends every quarter. The key insight is that earned income trades your time for money. When you stop working, the money stops. Asset income trades your capital for money. The money keeps flowing whether you're working or not. The goal is to shift from the first model to the second as aggressively as you can. Now let me bring this full circle with one more angle that I think is the most important of all: the human cost. Because we've been talking about dollars and percentages, but the two-income trap isn't really a financial story. It's a human story. Two exhausted parents who barely see each other. Kids in institutional care for 10 hours a day from age 6 months. Marriages strained by stress and resentment. Bodies breaking down from the grind. Weekends consumed by errands that couldn't happen during the week. The life you're working to afford is the life you're too busy and tired to enjoy. I'm not romanticizing the 1950s. The single-income era had massive problems: gender inequality, limited options for women, stifling social norms. I don't want to go back, but I do want to take what was good, the financial margin, the flexibility, the breathing room, and build it into a modern, equal partnership. The families who are winning today aren't the ones earning the most. They're the ones who preserved optionality. They made choices that kept doors open instead of locking them in. They treated the second income as rocket fuel for wealth building, not as a requirement for bill paying. Let me introduce you to one more concept before we wrap up, because I think it ties everything together. I call it the flexibility score. It's the simplest personal finance metric nobody uses, and it tells you exactly how trapped you are. Here's how to calculate it. Take your total mandatory monthly expenses: mortgage, car payments, insurance, utilities, minimum debt payments, childcare. Divide that by your higher earner's take-home pay. If the ratio is under 1.0, you could survive on one income. If it's over 1.0, you can't. The lower the number, the more margin you have. A score of 0.6 means your fixed costs are 60% of one income. That's excellent. You've got 40% margin. A score of 0.85 means you're tight but survivable. A score of 1.2 means you need both incomes and then some just to cover the basics. You're deep in the trap. Every financial decision you make should be filtered through this number. Thinking about a bigger house, what does it do to the flexibility score? Considering a new car? Run the number? Debating between daycares? Check the score. This single metric will save you from more bad decisions than any budget app ever will. Let's talk about something that trips up even families who understand the trap intellectually: lifestyle creep after raises. You get a $5,000 raise, and your brain immediately starts spending it. New furniture, upgrade the vacation, a nicer restaurant habit. Before you know it, the raise is gone, and your flexibility score hasn't moved at all. The antidote is the 80-20 raise rule. When either partner gets a raise, 80% goes to savings, investments, or debt payoff. 20% goes to lifestyle. You still get to enjoy some of the increase, but the majority is building your fortress, not decorating your prison. I want to address something else that comes up in the comments whenever I talk about this. But my partner refuses to save. They want to spend everything. This is hard, and it's real. Financial misalignment between partners is one of the top predictors of both debt and divorce. My suggestion: don't frame it as "we need to save more." Frame it as "I want us to have options. Nobody resists options." Talk about what the money buys in terms of freedom, not restriction. If we invest this in 5 years, one of us could take a year off if we wanted. That's a different conversation than "stop buying stuff." All right, let me lay out the complete action plan in order. Consider this your escape route from the trap. Step 1, calculate your flexibility score tonight, right now, before you go to bed. Know where you stand. Step 2, audit your fixed costs. Identify every mandatory monthly payment. Can any of them be reduced? Refinance the mortgage if rates have dropped. Switch insurance providers. Most people are overpaying because they auto-renew. Cut subscriptions you've forgotten about. Challenge every line item. Step 3, separate the second income. Open a dedicated account. Set up automatic transfers the day the paycheck hits. The money should never mix with the spending account. Out of sight, out of mind, straight into building wealth. Step 4, fill the emergency fund. Before investing, before extra debts, payments, get 6 months of expenses liquid and accessible. This is your rebuilt parachute, your modern version of Linda being available to enter the workforce. Except this one doesn't require a person, just a savings account. Step 5, attack high interest debt, credit cards, personal loans, anything above 7% interest. Every dollar of interest you pay is a dollar stolen from your future self. Kill it with fury. Step 6, max out tax advantage accounts. 401k match first. It's literally free money. Then IRA contributions. Then HSA if you're eligible. These accounts reduce your tax burden now and grow tax-free or tax-deferred. It's the closest thing to a financial cheat code that exists. Step 7, invest the rest in low-cost index funds. Don't try to pick stocks. Don't chase crypto. Don't pay a financial advisor 1% to underperform the market. A simple 3-fund portfolio, total U.S. stock market, international, and bonds, will outperform 90% of actively managed funds over 20 years. Step 8, schedule the monthly money date, 20 minutes, coffee, no judgment. Review, adjust, stay aligned. This is the maintenance that keeps the engine running. Skip it and drift sets in. Drift becomes disagreement. Disagreement becomes disaster. Step 9, protect the downside. Term life insurance, disability insurance, an umbrella policy if you have assets to protect, wills and beneficiary designations. None of this is exciting. All of it is essential. You're building a fortress, and a fortress without walls is just a floor. Step 10, reassess annually, life changes, income changes, kids grow up, childcare costs drop, careers evolve. Every year, recalculate the flexibility score and adjust the plan. The families who stay out of the trap are the ones who keep checking for it. Now, I want to show you what all of this looks like in practice. Let's go back to Jake and Mia, our couple making $131,000, who were one broken water heater away from crisis. Imagine they implement even half of what we discussed. They downsize from a $2,400 mortgage to $1,700 by moving one neighborhood over. They reduce to one car. They find a family childcare arrangement that saves $8,000 a year. They meal prep Sundays and cut takeout by 60%. Total monthly savings, about $2,100 a month, $25,000 a year. That $25,000 a year invested at 8%. In 10 years, about $390,000. A hambar. 15 years, $730,000. By the time their kids are in high school, they have a portfolio generating more income than the entire second job was netting them after expenses, and they still have both incomes flowing. More importantly, their flexibility score dropped from 1.15 to 0.72. They went from trapped to free. If Jake loses his job, they can survive on Mia's income plus the emergency fund. If Mia wants to take a year off, they can afford it. They have choices. They have margin. They have the thing that money was always supposed to provide. And here's the beautiful irony. After a few years of living below their means, they actually feel richer than they did when they were spending everything, because wealth isn't about how much flows through your hands. It's about how much stays. It's about sleeping soundly when the furnace breaks. It's about not fighting about money at midnight. I'll leave you with this. The two-income trap is real. It's structural. It's not your fault, but it is your problem. Nobody's going to fix it for you. Not the government, not your employer, not the economy. The system is designed to absorb every dollar you earn. Your job is to stop letting it. You can keep doing what everyone else does. Spend two incomes, save nothing, cross your fingers that nothing goes wrong for the next 30 years. Or you can be the family that sees the trap, builds around it, and uses that second income to buy what it was always supposed to buy, not stuff, but freedom. Calculate your flexibility score tonight. Have the conversation with your partner this week. Make one change this month. The trap took decades to build. You don't escape it overnight, but every step in the right direction makes the trap a little less tight. And if you're ready to take your first step toward financial freedom, then watch this next video and learn how to make every dollar work in your favor. Your future self will thank you.